you brought up something involving Ed Warren and the nun demon thing, and
right. The other element that's sort of going on with the Warrens, independently of the Enfield stuff, is Lorraine has had a vision and had seen Ed dying, basically, and so there's this kind of fear that she has about them on this case, and there's this other, kind of, I guess, sort of a typical Wan demon at this point, but like white painted person. In this case, it's sort of a nun, I guess. It ends up being tied into the main story. Like, that's it was just kind of odd. It didn't really need to have that happen in it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it just feels kind of strange that it's almost like it picked this family at random to lure the Warrens over. But if it was doing that, why did it do it in England?
Right.
And it could have done it in Massachusetts, and it could have taken a bus, and it still could have done what I guess its intention was. If that even is the plot.
It's hard to really figure it out. They didn't really spend a lot of time with it either.
They didn't.
I mean, a lot of it, that was kind of different about this one versus the first one. Was there was kind of a mystery element. You didn't really know who the entity was in the first one, at least for an hour of the movie. And then where it kind of fell apart is when you finally see the old lady, with the eyes and the fangs or whatever, the go-to demon effect. And in this time, they make it very clear pretty early in the movie that the person or the entity haunting the house is just an old British man that died.
Just this cranky old guy.
Yeah, he's just a cranky old guy. They use that same style where instead of an old lady, now it's an old British man. So there'll be jump scares where it's like, get out of my house, and it's like he's got yellow eyes and fangs, and you're like, that's not fucking scary. It's an old British man. I don't know, it just kind of lost a lot for me, not just from seeing it versus like the not seeing it element, but just like what it was.
Well, and how I feel like in the last 5 years, maybe it's Insidious that I'm thinking of, where that was it too, where it was just really pale people, maybe dressed in old-fashioned
right,
to sort of show that they're an old ghost, when you just know it's an actor in makeup. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. So that was, again, it was a different choice that they went for with that, and so it was always, you're kind of waiting to see this old man pop up, or a lot of times you don't see anything, but then suddenly, as we were talking about before, that the actual old man is just a pawn for that other demon that was trying to get Ed and Lorraine, but again, why was he there in England controlling it when it would have, I don't know, it just doesn't quite add up. It still was a better third act and finale than the first one, I would say.
Yeah, so you sort of find, it was a third act thing where you find out that this asshole old man ghost, Will Jenkins or something like that.
Something like that.
You sort of find out that being the pawn of this entity that you find out is, just some random demon, he's sort of like trapped, and he's sort of being made to like torture the little girl.
Spooker.
Because but then so it feels like there's almost like they didn't go for sympathy, but it sort of feels like this thing is not really in control of its destiny or what it's able to like do. And then climax happens. The house is still haunted by this old man who you think, out of being freed from the enslavement of this demon, there would be maybe some kind of, like you were saying before we started this, like that there was a saccharine quality to the wrap-up.
Yeah, and that was the same way with the first one, and Annabelle was the exact same way, where it's like everything's very intense, and then the finale, and then suddenly everything shifts, and it's so sweet, like everything's so happy, or saccharine,
And so you think you'd get something maybe for this
poor old fucking British ghost man
who is just kind of looking for his family.
Well, he's just being manipulated by some asshole demon too.
He says, on a few occasions, like,
I'm just looking for my family.
I don't know where they are. How do I find? Like, why is there not?
We found your family, Bill. You can go into the light now. Enjoy.
Yeah, like a photograph of him, and they suddenly appear or something.
Right. They should
do something for this tortured.
Right. And the way they loved spending time developing characters, it seems like they missed an opportunity for Bill, the old cranky ghost.
Speaking of building characters, would you like a biscuit?
Oh, I would. What a delicious, scrumptious idea.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows that biscuits soothe the soul and are kind of really the hero of Conjuring 2 in a lot of ways.
Make you talk better.
Yeah, that's true. One of the kids, his only actual character trait is that he stutters, and so his sister is sort of forcing him to learn how to talk and, bribing him with cookies or biscuits to make it work.
Well, at first they don't have biscuits.
That's true. Yeah, part of that opening scene, they're so poor.
They're very poor.
They're so poor. We don't even have any biscuits. And then it's like, fake out, we actually did have a couple biscuits.
They lived in a pretty big place.
It's even
for being very poor. And it wasn't until very late in the movie that I kind of understood. Like, there was a very long hallway upstairs where there was a lot of noise happening that only very selective members would come out of their rooms.
That was another thing too. When
there's a demon screaming in a tent.
Yeah. That was a weird element to it. The first one was the same way, where people seem to have selective hearing.
Yes.
Where it's like, if they're not hearing the knock, because there's sometimes where a character's seeing the entity or whatever, and we don't see it, and the other character doesn't see it. But if it's like no one else hears the knock, but they would still hear the girl screaming her freaking head off.
There's a lot of the main character girl, Janet or whatever her name is, running around, jumping into her bed while her sister sleeps.
Still asleep.
Just not hearing the doors opening and
I'm
screaming
not even
and feet running across it.
Yeah. Well, they even have that happen later in the movie when she gets like teleported through the ground into the locked room.
Yeah.
Which is right next to where Ed and Lorraine are. And it's like 5 minutes later that
they come running out way later.
They're like, whoa, what's going down, guys? Like, they'd be like, on point, ready to go.
Yeah.
In the first movie, there's a few kind of iconic scenes that work really well, and they are like, what's that? Oh, the clapping. Yeah, obviously, I'm like, what the hell?
The trailer moment that was in every single.
Well, I mean, even there's another point when they actually, I guess, use it before then when she's searching, and then the arms come out of the like cup or armoire or whatever. And then another part in that was really effective is the one sister who's kind of being terrorized in that one is seeing something, and the audience never sees it. We're just seeing like kind of the darkness in the corner,
Yeah, that was great.
And so after seeing this, I was trying to think if there were any elements like that in this movie that could really compare. And there were a lot of the scares in the movie are basically just the younger sister being terrorized, Janet, and so it's kind of like how many different ways can they play with that same impact or kind of scare. And one that I thought was effective, I don't think you actually see anybody or anything in that scene, but it's when she runs away and like hides under the covers.
Yeah.
And so it's like all from her perspective underneath, and you don't really see anything, but it's just, again, it's what you don't see. You're like, what's going on around her?
They do like this POV thing, and you kind of hear the old man breathing.
Yeah, you hear the breathing and all that stuff.
Was cool.
That was pretty sweet. And then another one, I mean, a lot of the movie is, again, like very visually kinetic and has a lot of movement to the camera, but one scene when they actually are trying to communicate with the spirit of Bill through Janet, it's all one unbroken shot, and in the foreground is Patrick Wilson, and he's in focus, and in the background is we're just hearing the kind of voice. There's sort of a transformation visually that occurs, but having a lingering shot, but one that isn't full of a lot of movement or anything, it still was able to be like a very effective element. Again, it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm so scared right now.
It was just unsettling.
Unsettling and an interesting new, again, like adding it into the bag of like lingering shots, like here's this other kind of take on that sort of style, I guess. Yeah. Whereas a lot of it was, oh, what else do we got? Like, let's just reuse that, I guess. I don't know.
Can we talk about my favorite part of the movie that was also the most pointless and unconnected to everything?
Yes, we can.
The Crooked Man?
The Crooked Man, that's right.
That was weird.
I mean, well, so in the movie, the younger boy, because there were two boys, I guess he was the older boy. There's this other phantom boy that is barely around. I don't really know what was going on with that character. I don't remember
which one was looking at.
Well, yeah, it was the stuttering one. The one that was. There's like a music box kind of thing, or like a carousel. Has like a.
You look in and you see this like animated.
Yeah, that has a name for it, but I can't remember what it is now. So you're seeing this little guy, like just a drawing of.
They sing a song about him.
Yeah,
it must be a British thing.
I guess so.
They had a song.
there was a song and everything. So, but then later, actually, the Crooked Man shows up, and as you were saying, I think it's like. way weird. It just felt very out of place for the...
transforms from a dog.
That's true. That was another... that was pretty gnarly.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, they had the dog got killed in the first one, so that's why I thought it was going to be some similar play on that. But then it's like that kid, he goes and is looking outside, and then the dog is just in the corner, and it starts to like slump away, and then just this figure rises out of it, and it's the Crooked Man. He's got a fucking top hat, and like he was almost like Joker-esque outfit, or like a clown
it was
kind
like
of thing.
Babadook sort of in a way.
That's true. That's true.
I thought it looked cool, but it was just this like full-on CG monstrosity that you just weren't really.
I wasn't prepared for.
No, not at all, which is why I enjoyed it.
And
then he shows up again in an even like smaller thing that was just madness.
Well, yeah, and he's even crazier the second time. He's just like flying around the room.
Jaws of just monstrosity.
Yeah, he gets revealed and it's just this huge
weird
head, and he's got like a cane sword sort of thing too. I mean, he stabs through the door and shit. So I mean, honestly, I think it's like in order to maybe not that specifically, but in order to keep the movies fresh, they have to kind of change what it is that the Warrens are encountering.
Yeah,
like it was another sort of possession ghost movie. And I mean, obviously, that's like the closest hewn to reality is a possessed person versus like a zombie or a vampire or something like that. But I think that's kind of the direction they should or could go, I guess, to kind of, again, be able to change it enough, but still more give them fresh areas to cover instead of it always feeling kind of, okay, this little person is possessed. You know, here we go again. You know what I mean?
Like one location, one family that's...
We've got to help this family. That's what it comes down to a lot. We've got to help the family, y'all.
Well, and more specifically, we've got to help this little girl.
The little girl, y'all.
I'm pretty sure it was a little girl in the first one too.
It was a little girl.
Until Lily Taylor stole the show.
Yeah, Taylor came in and swooped the rug right out. She was like, "You think this is your movie, little girl? This is my movie. I get possessed at the end. Deal with it." So, did you like the movie overall? How would you rate it?
It's so easy to just sort of like nitpick. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I did enjoy it. It was. I mean, it was very well made. I mean, it was. It looked gorgeous.
I'm kind of impressed with that style that he has.
Yeah, and I thought Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga were fantastic.
It's a hard G. It's not a soft G. Farmiga.
I'm sorry.
Farmiga.
But yeah, actually, that was another thing. It wasn't that I was just begging for more of their love story or anything like that, but all the scenes that they had, they did a fucking great job with, I think. I mean, absolutely. I love her too, so maybe they could find a way in the next one that she has to team up with her time-traveling self so that her sister could be in it as well.
It's not bad.
Yeah, like there's probably time-traveling ghosts or demons of some kind.
Well, they talked about, like, she told the little girl about her experiences younger and yada yada. Yeah, just open it with a flashback and have little Thaisa running around.
Yeah, that's true. That would work. And then she gets sucked into the vortex, into modern day. Where would the location be for the third one? Not Amityville. Because they did wherever, and they did London.
I mean, I say they just shoot straight into like 2018 and see what's happening. See what's happening there.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say like go Hawaiian or something like that. You know what I mean? Okay. We could just use all that.
Hawaii is gonna still be there in 2018.
That's true. Here we are in Hawaii. This is 2018.
Oh my gosh.
This is incredible.
Volcanoes.
That little girl's possessed. We have to help that family and have a great vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, that was our extremely rambling and all over the place review of The Conjuring 2. I guess if you have any more questions about the movie, let us know in the comments below. And, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for Paul for coming.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah. If you don't like him, let him know in the comments. He wants you to tear him apart. He told me.
I won't read them, but Chris will let me know.
Yeah, he won't read them, but I'll let him know all the really bad ones. Or I'll just make up some that are worse. Those are weird flavor. Orange.
It's like lemony or something.
Yeah, orange is what it is.
It's a great biscuit.
Yeah, it's quality biscuit. That's what that is. Ugh, I can still taste it. It's like it's never gonna go in.